Okay, it's the start of a new semester here, and with a new group of kids coming in and the shop kind of organized and ready to go, I thought I would give you guys a quick shop tour. So here we go. The centerpiece of the shop is two main workbenches, and there's plenty of counter space around the entire room for kids to work at. The main dimensions of the shop are 40 by 25 feet, with a 9 by 7 foot cutout. As you can see here and in later shots as well, there are multiple of the same tools, which allow kids to spread out around the entire room. We'll begin the tour right next to the door. Behind the drill press, I have a compressor, which lets kids dust themselves off right before they go to their next class. And next to that, I have a scroll saw and a bandsaw, both which I got for free out of the trash. So I just repurposed those. Above that, I have a wooden cabinet that I made to display some old hand tools, just to keep the kids interested in those kind of things. And next to that, I have a file cabinet that works perfect for displaying spray paint. This giant wooden cabinet lets us hold sandpaper and sanders and marking tools and a lot of small things. And here's a quick overview of that entire wall. Along this workbench, I have a bunch of sanders and one of my chop saws. There's a bunch of hanging tools on the back wall, as well as displaying some of the kids' past projects that I've saved. Around the corner is the lumber rack, which was made from conduit and 2x4s, but it can hold plenty of weight. And right underneath that is the second chop saw. This one pulls away from the wall much further and allows us to cut much wider material. Underneath that, I have some scrap wood stored. This is all from pallet wood. I've also put remote switches on all the dust collectors so you don't have to reach behind tools to turn them on. There's the router table we use. And here's a quick overview of that little corner. One final sander, here's a belt sander, also hooked up to dust collection. And next to that is a small bandsaw. Of course, in a school shop, safety is important, so I have a cabinet with a bunch of Band-Aids and some tweezers to get out splinters. And then I have a big first aid kit for more serious emergencies, along with a fire extinguisher. Here are some more projects that have been saved that kids have made or I've had as a display. And then we can do a quick turnaround and see the room. And behind me is a bunch of storage cabinets. So I have one just for drill bits and chisels, and then a bunch of kind of miscellaneous hardware above that. And then I have a paint and glue and cleaning cabinet. I keep the paint in small jars that lets us mix colors and a little bit easier to open than a can. And next to that, I have a hardware organizer that I made some labels to help identify the different screws and what bits you need. And it kind of is really easily accessible. And as we continue around the room, here are two of the better bandsaws that I have. One is set up with a thinner blade to do curve cuts, and one is set up with a thicker blade to do resawing. Definitely one of the most used tools in the shop. Next to the bandsaws, I have this long table that I usually use to display materials for the day. I also keep jigs for the table saw underneath it, and there's a dust port right there to hook up the planer to. The table saw is decent, but I needed to raise the height of it for an outfeed, so I just built this kind of quick box that works pretty well. Against the wall, I have a safety glasses cabinet. Next to that is a red toolbox with mechanics tools, and then a plywood cart. Along the final wall in the shop, we have two more workbenches with shelves for storage. In an effort to manage the scrap wood, I have a small bin for the really small offcuts, a taller white shelf for the longer pieces, and then I have a metal file cabinet to hold the hardwood scraps. And this is the planer we use. It's an older model DeWalt, but it runs pretty well. And underneath that shelf, I have just a bunch of smaller tools stored here. So you can see I have routers, Dremels, jigsaws, and circular saws under there. These are the main workbenches. They're really nice with a vise in each corner and a solid 2-inch thick top. And I've had my kids in the past make little shelves to hold clamps along the sides of them. I also have a rolled up paint tarp that can easily be deployed if we're going to make a big mess on any of the tables. Finally, here's just a quick spin around of the room, and I hope you've enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about anything you just saw, and I'll be happy to answer them.